I think Melody had said this a second ago, especially if you're on mute. Most folks are going to be on mute most of the time. Please feel free to have your lunch. I know a lot of you are busy in between clients, in between calls. We want to make sure that you're able to layer this into your workday. So I know some folks might still be scarfing down some food. Don't want any to feel shy about having to have lunch or whatnot. Thank you so much for joining. I know we're having some folks hop on here still. My name is Alex Alexander. I'm a producing branch manager for Goldwater Bank, based out of San Diego. We're in the Wells Fargo building downtown. Super excited as basically Goldwater's first brick and mortar office in the West Coast and in California. Myself and our team, for all of those who are joining us as partners, and even for some of our Goldwater folks out of state, I see you all. We really want to try to use events like today to differentiate ourselves and to add value to our partners. Obviously, a big part of partnership and is business development. And oftentimes I think, and the way I've looked at my business, as I've been doing and originating loans for the last 6 years is, I want to give business to as many people as possible. And sometimes you can do that in a different way than just directly referring a client or directly asking for a client referral. Not that those aren't important, obviously. And so this is a part of our effort as a trusted partner to many of you to do that. So, Goldwater Bank is a full-fledged mortgage company and actually a depository as well. We originate in 48 states across the country. We have all the traditional government programs in addition to our own proprietary and portfolio products. And I don't want to get into the weeds when it comes to that stuff. We do a kick-ass job when it comes to loans. I'll just say that. Regarding, let me just keep making sure I'm allowing people in here.
Yeah, I'm doing that as you're talking, so don't worry.
Okay, good. Sorry. And the thing, it keeps changing on me and transforming. And that's I don't know if that's me making a mistake, but it's kind of been interesting trying to do that while I'm pitching here and making sure I'm going through my little guidepost. The last piece is talking about Melody herself in particular. So I believe I met Melody, correct me if I'm wrong, at a marketing event. This is pre-pandemic, probably a solid amount before pandemic at a little networking situation that I'm involved in.
We used to go to events, so.
Yeah, when we used to go to events, back when we used to see people in real life, and now that's getting better here, especially in California. I always noticed that when I was on social media that a lot of the real estate agents, and particularly a lot of loan officers who were really, really good with social media, had Melody as a mutual follower and a mutual followee. So I knew that I had seen her before, and I reached out on social media, and Melody and I started at the beginning of this year to put our heads together to work about myself personally improving not only social media, but marketing in general. And so I can personally, as a client of Melody, speak to not only her ability to understand how important marketing is for real estate agents, loan officers, and businesses in general, but how awesome she is at making what can seem like a very, very messy, multi-layered, multi-pronged marketing strategy palatable, easy to understand, easy to execute, and she's going to teach us a lot here today. So I want to big up her for all of she's able to do as a marketing consultant. And then I want to remind everybody who doesn't already know this that we'll continue to be doing these events quarterly with Melody, at least throughout the rest of the year. And so I'm letting you know that Melody is an expensive ticket that I've paid myself, and she's worth all the money. And today we've taken care of that for you. Once again, my name is Alex. I'm a producing branch manager for Goldwater Bank based out of San Diego, and I am excited to take notes and listen to my friend Melody. So take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Alex, for the wonderful introduction. It's been a pleasure to work with Goldwater Bank and yourself for the past year. And I can already tell from our work together that there is a lot more visibility from your company. There's a lot more visibility from social media, from the stuff that you're doing. Some of you guys who are here are brand new to me. Some of you have worked with me for a while. I see some familiar faces. I see Laura here. I see Ali. I see some of my other clients here as well. And I see some brand new people. So just a quick introduction on what we're talking about today, and that's how to generate leads on Facebook. I get the question all the time, is Facebook still relevant? We're going to go through that today, and we're going to go through why you do still need to be consistent with Facebook if you want to use it as a place to generate new leads for your real estate business, for your loan business, for whatever business that you're in. So most examples I use are in the real estate industry. However, these tips can definitely apply to any industry. I will leave some room for Q&A at the end. So if there's anything you want to ask that I haven't gone over, feel free to jump in at the end as well. And just a quick test, give me a thumbs up if you can see me and hear me okay. It's more important that you can kind of hear me. So I see some thumbs up by people. Awesome. Thank you for Katie, Alana. I see David giving a thumbs up. So I'd like to see that. And if you don't have your camera, don't be shy. We like to see your faces here. You can feel free to jump on. And just a quick thank you again to Goldwater Bank for sponsoring this wonderful event and providing this resource for all of you guys. They've made the investment to not only share this information with their team, but also to their network. So thank you to them. If you have any questions about mortgage or anything loan-wise, Alex or anyone on their team can help you. There's a few people on the team that are in the webinar. I see Greg is here, and I think I saw Eric jump in at some point. Feel free to reach out to them at any time. And if you are on social media already, feel free to share this event on social media, either on Instagram or Facebook. I put my handle in Goldwater Bank's mortgages handle as well. Feel free to tag us. We will reshare you, we'll retag you. It's always good to, as a general note, to tag people, share what people are doing, and to give people kudos online. When you do that, people are more likely to do that back to you. Hello. And people just like to get kudos. They like to see that they're getting other people promoting them, right? So if you guys also are not talking, you can go ahead and mute yourself. I hear some background noise. I want to make sure that for the recording, we are going to get a clean recording.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of voicemails, but I'm not interested.
See, let me see. Alex, do you see?
Whoever's getting voicemails, we're here to get your voicemails.
Please, I'm on the presenter screen. Alex, do you have a place to mute people?
Whoever's the host is able to mute people. If you're the host, you can scroll over a person, and I believe it's the 3 dots over someone.
Yeah,
and you
I see it, Katie. Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna get everyone muted. Otherwise, maybe we'll take those calls if you don't want them, right? Okay, so I want you guys to be engaged and interactive on this presentation. I don't want to just be talking to you because that is boring. So let's get a show of hands through the chat where you guys are coming from. So I want you to answer in the chat where you're tuning in from. I'm in San Diego, California, sunny San Diego. Where are the rest of you from? I'd love to get an idea of where everyone is from. More San Diego, Kentucky. I love that. So Santa Monica, San Diego, Bay Area, hot Phoenix, more San Diego, the D, LA, La Mirada. So we have people from all over. I love when we have a variety of people. Alex is in San Diego, of course, where we met, and anyone else, but we have people from all over the nation. That's the great thing about Zoom, is that you can connect with people from all over. Even though people are kind of getting zoomed out, we still have a way to make it fun and interactive when we can get people from multiple places in one sitting. All right, next question. I want to know, and this might date me, might date you, what year did you join Facebook? Or just an estimate if you have an estimate. And then I want you guys to let me know, what year did you join Facebook? Ashley says 2006, 2007, 2008. We have a lot of early adopters here. 2006, I can't read that number, 2012, 2008, 2009. So a lot of people here have been on Facebook for more than a decade. Okay, Laura says 2010. That's even more than a decade. So Facebook has been around for a while, and it has evolved over the years. If anyone was on it earlier than me, I'd be curious to see. I joined in 2004. Did anyone else join around that time? I was one of the first people that was able to get on Facebook, because back then it was only for people in college and you had to have a college email. Does anyone remember that barrier? I might be the only one here. Otherwise people are, so David says he remembers that. I remember people trying to get fake college emails to get on Facebook. So when I first launched Facebook, I was got on Facebook, I was a freshman in college, and it was one of the first schools that I was able to go on. And it was mostly for networking with your classmates, seeing who's in your class. And you could connect with people who were in your class, find people in your school, and that was it. As we've seen, it's evolved over the years. And that is going to lead me into the next question. What is your favorite thing about Facebook? I personally love seeing the fun memories pop up. Sometimes they're not so fun, but it shows you how far you've come and how far you've evolved. But what is your favorite thing about Facebook? David says cat videos. You know, it's funny. I was just talking to a client today and she put her dog on a video. She's also a real estate agent. And she said that she feels like she got more views on the video when she put her pet in the video. Ali says connections and birthdays, photos of friends and family. The news, finding people from the past. Yes, it's always fun. That's what Andre says, to find someone that you haven't talked to in 20 years and all of a sudden you see them on Facebook. So just wanted to throw a few questions out there to get you guys interacting, get to know you a little bit about your Facebook experience. So here is now where I want to get into some of the business stuff. Okay, how do you know if this webinar is for you? If you can relate to any of these, then type the number in the chat box. Maybe it's going to be all of these. So type the number in the chat box if you can relate to any of these things and they apply to you. You are frustrated with a Facebook algorithm that just seems to keep changing. Does anyone feel that way, where they just can't keep up with what to post, what to do to get visibility? Does anyone feel that way? Type in the number 1 if you feel that way. So no one feels that way. Okay, I see a couple ones.
Sorry, could you repeat it again?
If you feel frustrated with the Facebook algorithm that seems to keep changing, if that's something that is a kind of a challenge for you. All right, number 2, how many of you feel this way? You post on Facebook, but you don't feel like people are paying attention or they're seeing your posts. Type in the number 2 if you feel that this is happening to you sometimes. Laura, I think David's feeling this way. So Katie says sometimes. I sometimes feel this way too. And Eric says 1.9, never. So that's good if you never feel this way. I have had times where I am so excited to post something, I'll post it and then no one likes it. And then I'll post something completely random and then I get tons of likes on it. So it's very challenging to figure out sometimes who sees your post on Facebook.
I'm gonna do it.
How many of you have had this happen before? And don't be shy because it's happened to me. You log on Facebook with the intention of doing business, but then you find yourself scrolling on random people's profiles, random groups, random photos, and even sometimes getting into arguments with strangers. Has anyone ever done that before? And I know I sure have. And I'll go through how to avoid this and how to make Facebook a place that is a great lead generating tool rather than a place to waste time. There are opportunities for you to waste time when you want, but not when you are dedicated to growing your business during business hours. That shouldn't be when you're looking at random photos and liking random things on Facebook. So here, first, I want to share some fun facts about Facebook. When people say, is Facebook still relevant? Facebook is the most used social platform in the world with 2.79 billion users. So there's not any other social media platform, not LinkedIn, not Instagram, not TikTok, that has more users than Facebook. So if you are looking to go to a place to reach the most amount of people, Facebook is the place to go. More than 1.4 billion people are using Facebook groups each month. So Facebook groups are a more private way to communicate because you're in these private different groups and pods of people that you might want to network with. People are absolutely using Facebook groups by the billions. And then the next fact, two-thirds of Facebook users have visited a local business page weekly. How many of you have a Facebook business page? Type in yes if you have a Facebook business page. Type in yes in the comments. So David has one, Ahmed has one, Alex has one. A lot of you, great. I love to see that you guys are ahead of the game. Ember has one. So just some fun facts on why Facebook is still relevant and it's still important. If you've been to my webinars, you know that I share a lot of information, but my goal is to have you walk away with one or maybe two things that you can execute right now. And I like that the word now is an acronym for no opportunity wasted. So as long as you walk away with one or two things, it will be successful. Now, don't try to implement everything. And we'll talk about that as far as lead generation goes a little bit later. I'll share why that's not going to work, but why it's more important to choose one or two things to be consistent with them. So you're probably thinking, Facebook has so many different elements. If I want to generate leads, what are things that I can do on Facebook? Just to get another idea of the audience, I want you to type in 1, 2, or 3 for always, sometimes, never that you do these types of things on Facebook. How often do you leave people voice messages on Facebook? Always, sometimes, or never. So 1, 2, or 3. Type that in the chat. How often do you do that? Voice messages are a more personal way to get your message across to someone. So for example, if you are hosting this event and you want to invite people, you might want to send them a voice message rather than just a regular message. So that's something unique. So I'm sharing different things that are fairly unique that people don't do all the time or they don't do consistently. All right, next one. How many of you consistently wish people a happy birthday on Facebook? I see David says 1, 2, 3. I have, this one's across the board. 1, always. I love that. I see Allie, who's in here. Allie is also a friend and client of mine. She actually created a personal image of her face, and I think her contact information. She works in escrow, and she wishes people happy birthday with that message every day. I think she goes on there every morning. So that is one way to stand out, but keep in mind when it's someone's birthday, they are getting dozens of messages. So creating something like a custom photo will make you stand out, or doing the birthday wish in a voice message will make you stand out. So you want to think of things you can do to make you stand out in the crowd when there's so many people on Facebook. What are some other things you do on Facebook? How many of you make live videos? I usually get a lot of 3s for this when people are shy for live videos. So I'm seeing some 1s, 3s, some 3s. So not a lot of people do live videos. Live videos, I see Ali says 1. We see more 3s. Live videos is also a great way to get visibility on Facebook because most people don't do them. The live videos get more visibility as far as staying up higher on the news feeds, and people will get a notification on their timeline that you're going live. So it's one other way to stand out. Next thing here is how many of you leave other businesses reviews on Facebook? I see 2s, 3s, 3s, some 2s. So luckily people are sometimes doing that. Now, leaving reviews on Facebook is a great way to stand out because when you leave someone a review, it actually shows up on your profile that you reviewed them. It is also showing that you're active on Facebook, you're in business, you're there to create positive experiences for people, to share things as a resource. You know, obviously there could be a bad review, but if you're leaving reviews consistently, you're showing that you're going out of your way to help other businesses. How many of you, Ahmed says, that's why I don't do it. I don't know what that's referring to exactly. Maybe he's talking about the negative reviews.
Yeah, that's literally why I don't do it. I don't want them to know it's me.
Okay. How many of you would love to just randomly wake up one day and have someone give a positive review for your page, right? Who wouldn't love that? Everyone would love to get positive reviews. Well, the way to start encouraging more reviews is by giving them in the first place. So it could even be a strategy where once a week you're going on a business and giving them a positive review. All right, let's see what else we got here. And how many of you consistently post tips related to real estate, but are not selling things? Examples are home decor, home improvement tips. How many of you are doing things like that, where you're posting about your business, but not directly saying, hey, here's another listing, here's another sold, something along those lines. David says, are Facebook reviews even reviews anymore? I thought they were just recommendations. So David, that is a good question. I believe it might be called a recommendation now. However, it still shows up as a review. And when you get reviews, you can still copy and paste it and repurpose it on other channels. Crystal says she just posts home tips. So you want to keep in mind, as realtors or as anyone in any type of business, you want to sell without selling. So the more you can be a resource to people to post things related to what you're selling, that's going to be beneficial when it comes time for someone to buy. So real estate is a very long process. It is not like someone wakes up and they decide, okay, I'm going to buy a house today. Let me just call an agent. It takes people years to save up. It takes people years to be able to first of all, you need to talk to a loan officer. So you can talk to someone from Goldwater Bank. But it takes people a long time to get ready to buy a home. So posting tips such as here's how to prepare to buy a home, here's questions, and here's how to find a loan officer. Things that help people buy a home without directly selling them a home are going to be helpful. So when it comes time for them to buy, they will think of you. So yes, it's great to have all the listings and all the solds, but that's not always going to entice someone who's never bought a home to call you. Okay, they want to know that you're a resource. A lot of what I do for my marketing business is I post marketing tips. So I offer webinars like this. I offer a lot of resources rather than always pushing people to hire me or to use my service. All right, so those are different things you can do on Facebook. Keep those in mind.
Melody, can you speak to, because I think you said it really quickly, but I want to make sure people were able to absorb the recommendation for repurposing the reviews. Because I think David asked a really good question. And that's my experience with my Facebook business page where I guide clients to doing reviews at the end of transactions. So talk about how you can get more out of kind of an activity or more out of a routine that you have.
Okay, so these are just examples of things you can do consistently. But one of the things you can do is focus on getting reviews. So after every transaction, you can maybe have an email that you send out or a way to get your client to write you a positive review. Okay, so once you get that review, it's not only just on Facebook now, you can also say, hey, do you mind copying the same review and putting it on Google reviews? Do you mind copying this and putting it over on LinkedIn? Now you can also copy it yourself and put it on your website, put it on your social media. You can put it on your newsletter. So you have that positive review that you can repurpose and put it in other places and not just have it on one platform. I'll show you an example. Actually, I know Alex we've worked together on doing this. If you go on his, actually, do you mind if I just pull up your Instagram?
No, go ahead.
Okay, let me pull up your Instagram. I'll show you an example of something that Alex has done. I might have to close this up for now. But it is one of those things where it does have to be a part of your strategy. I will go into that a little bit later on how to incorporate some of these things in and how to decide what to choose to do on Instagram, because there are not on Facebook rather. There are so many different things you can do. So it might get overwhelming. And our goal is to make sure that we're being consistent with a couple things. Okay, so let me pull over Alex's page, should be right here. And here's his Instagram. So here's some examples. So here is a review that he got on social media somewhere, and he took a small quote from that and he's sharing. I can't say enough good things about Alex since this is our second time working with him. He did so much on our behalf and is our go-to guy for any type of loan. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about where you can repurpose reviews. Now he created this image, he used his logo, he used the colors of his company, and he turned it into something that now he can post on different social networks, not just on Facebook. So it doesn't necessarily matter where you get the review. I'm using Facebook as an example, but if you have a review, even if it's on Zillow or somewhere else, you can pull the review and create little nuggets of posts like this. And he's done this several times and he probably has enough content where maybe every week he can post one. Now, here's another one. He worked hard to meet my needs and help me understand the process. So something quick like this is just a way for you to promote yourself, but it's not directly promoting yourself. It's other people promoting you. Purchased my first home with Alex, great rate. He was able to get me to close really fast. We closed almost a week early. That's a great positive thing that someone else is saying about him. So that's one benefit of the reviews. And again, you are going to choose what you want to do consistently. If it is the reviews, then that is something that I'd recommend you start doing right now, going to see what reviews you already have out there, copying them and creating a little template like that. I just showed you for Alex's. That is definitely something that you can do. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about, I have three main tips today for generating leads on Facebook. First, it's important to know, and to keep this in mind, is that you don't own your Facebook contacts. If Facebook disappears one day, and if Facebook gets deleted, all of those contacts and friend requests and connections are gone. So the first thing that you want to make sure that you do if you're going to be using Facebook to generate leads is that you have to make sure that you build your database with your Facebook contacts. This means taking your contacts as much as you can off of Facebook, putting them into something else that you own, whether it's a CRM, whether it is an email list, but you want to do this as much as possible. A lot of people message me on Facebook, business messages, and I'll say, hey, let me reply back to you. What's your email and phone number? I'll give you a call back or I'll email you back. So if there's any interaction that someone messages you with, you want to do your best to take it off Facebook and get their contact information. Okay. So here are a few ways that you can do that. Is just ask for their number or email if they're already messaging you. So if you've seen someone comment on something that you're doing about real estate and they say, hey, how do I learn more about signing up for a consultation? Then you'll message them and say, hey, let me know what your email and your phone number is. I will call you and then we'll set something up. So anything you can do to get their information off of Facebook is going to help you with lead generation. Once you're able to do that, then you can use a system to collect emails. You can use things such as MailChimp, Constant Contact, or you can use a CRM such as HubSpot, LionDesk, any of those CRMs that are out there. Just to get an idea, how many of you are already using a system to collect emails or a CRM for your business? And let me know the name of the system that you're using. I would love to learn more about what systems you're using. I personally use MailChimp and I use HubSpot. What about some of you guys? What are some of you guys using for your real estate business? I see someone using Jungo, Salesforce, KV Core. So there's a lot of different systems out there. Follow Up Boss, which is a CRM. As long as you choose one, a lot of systems, make sure you choose one that works for you and be consistent with using it. The CRM is only as good as the person who's using it. So if you don't have a system where you're at least weekly going in there and updating it and checking it, then it's not going to be effective for you. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have a consistent way to get people off of Facebook. So there's different things you can do for that, which I mentioned, and that might be to promote something like a webinar where people are going to be giving you their emails. That might be posting a link to something where people can sign up to get more tips for a newsletter. Whatever that is, find a way to get people to give you their information if they're remotely interested in real estate in some way. People will message back and forth on Facebook over and over again, but never have contact information. And that way, if something happens, like I'll give you an example. This is more of a personal example. I had a friend that I met through a mutual friend, and we became friends on social media. We were always messaging each other on social media, commenting on each other's posts. And then one day she had some personal things happen and had to go off of social media for a while. And it was like interesting because I had no way to contact her. She didn't have her Instagram. She didn't have her Facebook. And so I had to ask someone else to get her number to contact her because I lost that connection because she deleted her profile. So if someone deletes their profile, you lose that connection if you don't have them on another system. All right, number 2, consistency is key if you want to start generating leads with Facebook. I gave you a list of all those things earlier to do. Voice messages, birthday wishes, live videos, getting reviews and leaving reviews, posting tips. You have to choose one of those things or something else and make sure you're consistent with it. You don't have to do everything. And people are always saying, you know what, I want to do it, but I haven't had time to do it. And that is because it's not a priority and it's not on the calendar. So this is a quote that I always love. Success comes from what you do, occasionally, or doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. So if you are inconsistent with your Facebook usage, you're going to get inconsistent results. If you're consistent with what you're doing over time, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, you will start noticing that it is a consistent part of how you grow your business. So I guarantee you that any of my successful clients on social media are all being consistent with something. Doesn't have to be everything, but it is something. So you choose what works for you for the consistency. Now, how do you be consistent with it? Katie says, how much time do you spend per day? Okay, Katie, so that is a great question. You want to dedicate the time that you can commit each day. I can't tell you that number. If you can honestly dedicate that time, you will start noticing that Facebook or social media in general is a lead generating tool that's important for your business. You'll want to spend more time doing it once you start realizing it. Maybe you just start with 30 minutes a day. Okay, maybe 30 minutes a day, you go on there, you're interacting with people, you have a strategy and what you're going to do, and you follow that protocol. And every day for 30 minutes, you do that. And you'll start noticing that you'll get more results if you're consistent. I have this picture of a calendar up because I want you guys to do this today, if not even right now. I want you to put in a calendar scheduled event that's consistent that you will work on your social media. If you really want to use Facebook to generate leads, you need to have it on your calendar. Otherwise, it won't get done. It doesn't even have to be every day. Maybe you put every Monday at 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. I'm going to jump on and work on my social media. Kitty also says, is there a time of day or depends on your schedule? It absolutely depends on your schedule. You want to make it a time that you won't skip. A lot of times people put it at a time where they might have a meeting, they might not. It needs to be a daily time or weekly, or it can be twice a week. It needs to be a time that you will commit to doing, and treat it as if you were meeting with clients. Treat it as if you were having a calendar event that you wouldn't cancel. If you can get into this mindset, this will help you significantly generate leads and generate more revenue on Facebook. Now, during that 30-minute or an hour time that you have blocked off, you do need to have a consistent schedule. And what Alex and mentioned in the beginning that we've been working together, I've helped him and some other clients come up with a schedule of things on what to do during that time. So you can do this yourself. You can have me help you. You can kind of come up with ideas throughout the webinar, but you have the hour, write down, these are the top 3 things I'm going to get done in an hour. For example, one might be every time I log on for that hour, I'm going to make sure I write a positive review for someone. Maybe the next thing is I'm going to make sure that I share one post related to being a resource in real estate. And maybe the third thing is I'm just going to scroll through my feed and comment on 3 people's posts. You want to come up with something consistent you do. So when you log on, you're not going down that hole of clicking on photos, looking at videos, and going on random people's pages. This is dedicated business generating time where you are prospecting, where you are doing business development. David's
Melody,
question
can I add to that?
Yes,
by the way,
course.
because I think this is a really good question, and I know David had even asked a follow-up question. So, and especially I learned a lot of this from you. So one thing she said that I learned, I think it was in December of last year, Instagram had changed a lot of their algorithms, and I post a lot on my story, and it all of a sudden the viewership just dropped to a third, and that was a really big reminder that you want to look at social media as a way to obviously keep people engaged and to generate leads. But the second you have any potential chance of getting someone's information out of the machine, you want to get it out of that machine, because they really do have complete control. I didn't even think about the whole, like, what if this person gets off social media? That's another great example as to why you want to do that. But just because you don't have complete control of the platform, right? We are at their will. So that's one. And then the other thing that I think I really learned from Melody is you really want to go into, this sounds so sad, but it's true. And I think most people will admit it if they're honest. You really want to go onto social media when you're doing it for, your marketing, like take a breath, like refresh your brain. And like, this is why I'm going in, because if not, this machine is like so engineered to not only distract you, but to almost make you think you're doing business. So it was really helpful when I know there were some questions about what time to do it. It's almost like naive to think that matters more than like, okay, I'm going to block off this time. I'm going to spend this 2 hours making these 8 reviews, and I'm going to schedule them out for the next 2 months. And that's actually more value than all the kind of pretend prospecting that I'm doing, because I'm not going in there with a lot of intention, and the machine is just sucking me into like this vortex of like, oh, and then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, what did I even do for the last hour? So it's really like, it's almost like you got to be offline in your mind. But
so you're not going on there to look on random photos. You're going in there. I like the word that Alex said, with intention. Okay, you have the intention of doing business. You have the intention of writing reviews or creating content or connecting with people that are prospects. And David's question was about the time of day of the week where most users are active. And just exactly what Alex said, that's not as important as the time that you can commit to it. So if you can only go on early in the morning, because it's the time you have, maybe 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m., then that's the time that's going to work best for you. Okay, rather than try to figure out when everyone else is on or what the best time is, figure out the time that's best for you, because the algorithms are changing all the time. So maybe one week it'll say, okay, this week it's better to go on at this time. It's better to post on Tuesday, but that always changes. What doesn't have to change is your consistency with how you show up. So people see every Monday morning, they see this motivational post from you, and it's every single week and it's consistent. They'll get used to seeing that from you. And then that'll become a good time for you to post, because people will get used to looking at that time and looking for that content from you. So keep that in mind as you're thinking of what to do consistently. The question was intended to suggest that the time automated posts would have the best chance. Okay, so the time automated posts, I like to just do those in the morning if you're going to be doing the automated posts, because I feel like that way it's up there for the rest of the day. So I personally do any automated posts in the morning. But as far as you physically doing posts where you're going to go on there and interact, that's going to be the time where you can accommodate best in your schedule. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so moving on here, I'm going back to these things that I said earlier. I want you guys, it doesn't have to be one of these things, to choose one thing to do consistently, whether it's every day or every week. Okay, so these are the examples I gave: posting tips, leaving reviews, doing live videos. It doesn't even have to be live video, it could be regular video, birthday wishes, voice messages. Choose one thing to be consistent with. And it doesn't have to be 5 things. That one thing will add up and it'll make you more comfortable with adding on 2 things and then 3 things. Voice messages on Facebook Messenger, there's an option where you can leave someone a message through a microphone, and that way they hear your voice instead of seeing a note. So that's what I mean by a voice message. So you might have to update your messenger system if you don't have it. But sometimes I know a real estate agent, I'm connected to a lot of real estate agents, and every year for my birthday, he leaves me a voice message that says, hey, happy birthday. So I noticed that over the 100 other comments I get on my page. All right, now the third thing that I want to talk about on how you can start generating leads is to create lead magnets. These are things specifically created to get people off of Facebook into your database, and they're resources. There are many different ways to create a lead magnet, and I would focus on choosing one thing to start if you want to go this route. Just an example of some things: you can create a downloadable PDF. This is not even real verbiage. For example, if I work in marketing and I want to help people with their newsletters, I'm going to create something called 7 Steps to Launching Your Own Newsletter. The only way people will get this is if they give me their email. I can use this link promoted all over my Facebook profile, on my business page and my personal page. And that way I know that when someone downloads this, they are interested in this type of material, because otherwise, why would they have wanted to sign up to get this? So if you're a real estate agent, you can create something that's top 5 questions to ask before you buy a home. Or you can say, here are the 3 things you need to do before you buy your first home. One is, talk to a loan officer. The next thing is to make sure you have good credit. Whatever that is, you want to create a resource that will attract people to click on something. You have to create a separate landing page that people can download a lead magnet. Other examples of lead magnets are things such as this webinar. You can create your own webinar, first time home buyer webinar, or how to, like right now, how to get your offer accepted. Maybe there are some tips on how to get your offer accepted, because right now the market's so hot. So anything that will get people interested in your service to click on and sign up and give you their information, that's going to be beneficial for you to grow your database and to get these people off of Facebook into your own CRM, into your own system. Does anyone have any examples of lead magnets they might want to create? This does take a little bit of time, but I feel like once you can create one and get that going, you'll see how beneficial it is to get people off Facebook. For example, when I do a webinar, I promote it on Facebook. I get dozens of people signing up. So now I get their contact information off of Facebook. So it is worth it for me to spend the time. And it does take a long time. So creating a presentation like this takes hours of setting it up, partnering with sponsors, promoting it. But again, I'm getting all those emails and growing my database. So it is worth the time that you invest. So I would say maybe choose one thing to start with as a lead magnet and go from there. And just make sure you're consistent with it. So if you do one and you're like, you know what, no one came to the webinar, this was a waste of time, just do it again. Be more consistent with it. Do it once a month, do it once a quarter. It's going to work if you make it consistent. If you are not consistent with it and you do it randomly, as I mentioned before, you're going to get random results. Ahmed had a question: how do you generate it? What do you mean by generate it? What are you referring to for generating it?
Okay, sorry if I can talk better than writing. I meant, is there a specific, it's like this one's an example. Is there a specific website where they can enter the email and then I can just send it to them instead of, you know what I mean? It's a
okay, so
clickbait thing rather than just me getting the email and sending them the.
Yes.
stuff.
So this is right here. This example is to show you that you can make a quick PDF on Word. This is the Word document that I created. So on my end, I just use MailChimp. I'm able to create something where people enter their email and they get an email back on MailChimp. So it depends on the system that you use. I'm not an expert at setting up back-end things such as web development things. So if you have a web developer, I would ask them. But there are many different ways you can do this. So if you go to your web person and say, hey, you know what, I want to set up a web page on my site that has a cool video that shares tips, and I only want them to get it if they give me their email. They can set it up on your page where they have to put in the email and then the video pops up. So this is just an example here of something easy you can do on Word. You can use Canva to create these documents. You can use WordPress to create the landing pages. But there's many different ways of doing it, but that's why I mentioned it does take some time. So you might want to work into your schedule for when you are working on marketing and social media to work on a lead magnet. So if you have a dedicated time every day, maybe it's an hour, maybe you spend 15 minutes each day working on this until it gets done. So hopefully that answers your question. Again, this is just a Word document. I typed it up. It's just random verbiage to show here. So those are the main tips I want to share. I'm going to leave some room for Q&A, but I want to do a quick recap of what I shared and see if there's any more questions on the lead generating tools that I shared. First one, most important, and I know Alex helped me re-emphasize this, is that you want to build your database. Take those contacts off of Facebook if you really want to start turning them into leads for your business. While they're on Facebook, they're not direct leads. They're kind of, contacts on Facebook. Next thing is consistency is key. Choose one of those things we talked about and be consistent with it, whether it's doing the reviews, whether it is wishing people a happy birthday with a special image, whether it's sending people voice messages, whether it is posting something consistently. Choose something to do and do it at least once a week to start showing up, doing it. I'll give you an example. I had a client I was meeting with today. She's a real estate agent. We recently just started getting her on LinkedIn and posting more consistently on LinkedIn. And before that, she was never posting on LinkedIn. She said, oh, wow, someone in my office actually told me that their client saw me on LinkedIn. So it is something that people see. And the more you do it, the more visible you will be. Okay. And I think Alex had mentioned too, that he started seeing that I was connected to all these real estate agents that he knew. So the more active you are, other people will see it. And that was a funny story that my client told me, because the guy who told her that was kind of a competitor, a different agent that said one of his clients saw her on Facebook and sees her videos all the time on Facebook. All right, next thing here is going to be to create the lead magnet. And if you can think of a lead magnet idea, then you can start looking into how to build it. It can be like an easy one like I have here, which is just to create a simple Word document. You can make them more in depth. You can make nice designs on Canva. You can hire a designer to do it. However you do it, think of it as a resource you're giving to someone. Technically, it's free, but in exchange, you get their contact information. Okay, by doing this, you're going to start seeing that people now see you as more of a resource. And that's what we want. We want people to think of you as a resource. We want people to think of you when it comes time to asking questions about buying or selling their home. And then when they want to sell, ideally, they'll think of you too. So again, not everyone here is a realtor. I see some people here in escrow. There are people here who work in mortgage, but it's the same idea. You want to be that resource. So when someone does have an escrow need or does have a loan need, they come to you and you're the go-to person for them. So for me in my business, my goal is to be that resource for social media marketing for real estate agents and for the real estate industry. So when there is someone who has a real estate meeting and they're saying, you know what, our office needs help on social media, I want them to think of me and give them my information for contacting them about social media marketing for real estate industry. Okay, so if you guys are interested in more information on live videos, I have a free bonus course for you guys on live videos. This is a LinkedIn learning course and it's completely free for everyone who is here from Goldwater Bank. Normally, if you are a LinkedIn premium member, it's already free. Otherwise, they make you pay a small fee, it's like $29. But if you want this course, I walk you through how to create live videos on Facebook and on a few other platforms. And if that's something that you want to do consistently, this is a great course. It's about a 30-minute course. You can watch it on a faster speed. And it's going to be a free course that I'm going to be offering to you guys as a thank you from Goldwater Bank for being here. Here's how to access the course. You be careful because a lot of people try to get the course and they don't follow the directions. If you want the free course, you have to first add me on LinkedIn. So if we're not friends, I cannot send you the free link to access the course. Once we're connected, you will send me a message that you want the course. If I don't get the message, I won't know because I have so many contacts on LinkedIn. But that's a simple way to get the course. And then now I want to turn it back to Goldwater Bank if they want to have any closing statements. And I left about 10 minutes for some Q&A. Otherwise, I'll share some additional tips for you guys, but I do want to make sure that we are on time because you guys are busy people. So we are right on track right now. I'm going to leave it back to Goldwater Bank for them to share any information that they want before you guys sign off and ask your questions.
Thanks, Melody. Actually, you're adding a lot of value. So I'm going to just say thank you, everybody, for joining. I want to say shout out to Ian because I actually was able to find her literally off using hashtags and referred her a client, and she was able to. We were able to close a deal within 60 days of the first. Yeah, and so it worked. She literally her social media sold me. I typed in. I don't know if I typed in hashtag San Bernardino real estate agent or Inland Empire real estate agent. Immediately refer to the client, and I was literally just sold off of 2 or 3 posts. I love the energy on there. So
we might have to do an Instagram one next time because that's a good thing about hashtags and Instagram and how to get leads that way.
Yeah, so for sure.
I love hearing that story.
Yeah, I mean, this is where everyone's at. You know, it's at this point, it's a necessary evil, especially for us, because you know the rest of the world might be mindlessly using this stuff, but we're using it to advance our careers. So I want to leave it to you to ask more questions. I think the audience is pretty engaged. I know Katie had a really good question that I probably would have asked you too. So I want to know what she had asked. How do you differentiate between your personal and professional, basically your business Facebook account? Do you post to both? Do you post from one and share? And then anything else anybody else might want to ask. Thanks for coming again, guys. But go ahead,
thank you guys. That's a great question, Katie. I didn't go into more specific details today. I wanted to give you some general tips for lead generation. However, I do recommend that if you are using Facebook for a business, that you have a separate business page because you don't want to be pushing your business all the time on your personal profile. Now, I know what people say, but I get more people on my personal profile, more contacts on there. However, Facebook themselves, they don't like it when you're always pushing business on your personal profile. So they probably won't give you a lot of visibility if they notice your whole personal profile is just pushing business content. So it's always good to have a business profile. I like to post things related to business on my business page and then share it to my personal page. Now, occasionally I will generate things first from my personal profile. But on my personal profile, I make sure to have a mix of different things I'm posting that are not just business all the time, okay? Because I know that people are gonna get sick of the businesses. So I'll show you an example. I'll just pull up my Facebook page here if I can get that on the screen. And I'll show you how I very purposefully don't just do business things. And on top of that, whenever I do a business post, I just don't get as many likes as a personal post. But I very carefully make sure that I am not only pushing business, even though I want to make sure that my personal friends know I'm in business, right? All right, so let me close out these things right here. Okay, so
I think,
go ahead.
When it comes to, because I try to post a lot of personal stuff too on top of the business. So it's like a mix. It's just everything about me, really. So that's what people care about on social media. And then when it comes to your business page, are you just all the same exact business posts you're doing on your personal page? Are you sharing that also on your business page as well?
So it depends. I have some posts, like for example, that are the same. So for example, if I click on my business page, and if we're not connected on Facebook, feel free to go like my page. It's Marketing Melody. I do post a lot of resources on there. So I'm going to pull it up right here. And my last post was about this webinar that was posted yesterday. Okay, and then my last 2 posts were about this webinar actually. And then here's a different webinar that I was doing. So my business page, you can see it's all business content. Okay, another thing about the webinar. And I feel like it's kind of boring. People don't always like it. I did on Mother's Day do a personal post about my kids. Okay, so I did that on purpose. So I do purposefully mix in personal things on my business occasionally. I feel like when I do that, I get so many more likes than when I post something that's just business related, and I do that on purpose. So here's another personal thing. It was a Cinco de Mayo post that I posted, and then before that is another business post. Before that, another business post, you know. And another thing about business, I feel like people kind of get sick of it, but it is what the page is for. So I go ahead and post all my business things on here. This is a webinar I was doing with a real estate association. It all goes on here. Now on my personal page, I occasionally will share what I did, but it's not all the time. So this is a side business I have. I make rising platters. I share this on my personal page because it's kind of a fun thing to do. And then here is something about my daughter taking her gym classes. And then you can see a business post again, right? If you guys hear yelling, I think my daughter's in back. I'm going to try to tell her that we're wrapping up really fast because she knew that I was in here for an hour. I think she ran up right when it was time. Hey, Kaylee. Hey, Kaylee, mommy's recording. Okay, come back. Okay. Hey, you can say hi. Okay, I'm going to let her say hi. So then I can say hi. Hey, you can say hi to the meeting. Okay. You can say hi and then say, can you see her?
This is a real example
Yes.
of having some personal, professional,
Hi, meeting.
a mix.
Okay, say, I'm going to go be quiet. Okay, thank you. All right, go downstairs. I'll be down in 10 minutes, okay? Be down in 10 minutes.
Oh man, she's like walking on the Coronado Bridge.
Yes, I'm almost done. Okay, you're ready. You're soon. I have a class I'm taking her to, which is why she's telling me to go right now, but it starts at 1 o'clock. So, but yes, this is a real example of what happens. And kind of like my social media, I mix in that personal with business. So as you can see on my personal page, I do show these business things, but it is a mix between personal and business, and it's not all the time. But I'm very purposeful about doing that so that it's not just my business on my business page and on my personal page. So hopefully that makes sense. I feel like I definitely don't get as much interaction on business posts in general, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. So I'm still going to do it. It's still going to be visible. People still see it. I have people, excuse me, all the time. I'll run into them and they'll say, oh, I saw all your videos all the time. I'm like, well, why didn't you like them? But people don't always like them because they're business posts, but they still see it and they still think of me. So that's the goal of being consistent with your posting. Does anyone else have anything to share as far as business versus personal posting goes? Like, how do you guys differentiate or do that? Anyone have any insight on that?
Something I want to try out soon is like going to vegan restaurants around San Diego and doing a video and posting it so it's like me in the community, you know,
yeah.
like trying to support the local businesses and share more about that, but like something I'm also really interested in.
Yes.
Where
that is something that I've actually been working with Alex on. We were talking about going to local businesses and featuring them. So are you vegan? Is that why you're interested in that?
flexible, yes.
So flexitarian or whatever. Okay, so one thing that is great about social media is that you can highlight and feature and focus on other businesses where you're not just focusing on what you do, but you're sharing what other people are doing. So if you are going to do that, I would have some sort of schedule where you're consistently doing it. Maybe it's every other Friday you're going to a new restaurant. Maybe it's every week, or maybe it's just once a month where you're going in there doing a video or highlighting a new restaurant, however you want to do it. But then people will start thinking of you as a resource for vegan restaurants. Or think about specific neighborhoods. Maybe you're selling in a specific neighborhood. You're the go-to guy for anything in North Park or anything in Mission Valley. I have a client who does Savita. She's very exclusive to Savita. So anytime there's a Savita listing or anything going on there, she's usually the agent that people go to. So if you can kind of find that one area or one niche that you are good at, I would definitely start promoting that, and you can be that go-to person for that area or that demographic. So these are all great questions. Before we wrap up, I want you guys to type in the comments, what is one main takeaway that you're going to start doing right away that you got from this webinar? Let us know in the comments what you're going to start doing immediately after we hang up on this call. I'm going to read some of the answers to you. All right, let's see. Oh, what happened to my chat? Disappeared. All right, here we go. So I have, Eric says daily birthday messages on the Facebook voice. Laura's going to create a lead magnet. Katie's going to block off time on her schedule. Ayana's going to do voice messages. A PDF lead magnet is going to start. Amazon's going to set up for MailChimp. So I love it. These are all, Allie says she's gonna update her CRM with new Facebook friends. I haven't updated it in nearly a year. And Allie, we've worked together on that. So I wanna see you start doing that. So, and Andre's gonna create a business page separate from personal. I love it. So it looks like all of us have at least one thing that we're gonna do from today's webinar, right? So that is exactly what I wanted to see. So build and update your database is what Elizabeth says. So before we sign off, I want to do a quick little video that I can put on my stories and my social media. I'm going to make sure you guys show your video. So don't be shy. If you're not on video, show your video. I'm going to do a screenshot of everyone here.
Show your video.
Yeah, show yours. I see a lot of you guys are still muted. Hi, Laura. I see you waving. Haven't seen you in a while. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick video here.
Me too.
Yes.
I'm gonna video you videoing.
You're gonna video me videoing you. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining in for our Goldwater Bank webinar on how to generate leads on Facebook. You guys have your microphones off, but turn them on and let's all at once share one thing you're gonna do that you got away from this webinar. Go ahead and say it all at one time.
Lead magnets.
Audio messages.
Voice
Voice
messages.
message.
I love it. All right, you guys. Make sure to check your emails. We're doing these once a quarter with Goldwater Bank. So we'll be back next quarter for another webinar, probably on Instagram or another site about generating leads. This has been a very popular topic. So I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. Melody Tao here with Marketing Melody, Marketing Your Way to Success. And I will see you guys in the next one.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Melody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
I will still be here if you have any more questions. I'm going to stop the recording for now. If you guys couldn't attend the whole time or sign up and didn't get to log in, you will get a copy of the webinar once I am able to download it and upload it. And thank you again to Goldwater Bank for this wonderful opportunity for everyone.
Thanks, Melody.
Thank you.
Alex, thanks for hosting this, man. Great
You
job.
got it. My pleasure. Thanks for being on.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Alex, for doing this whole thing.
Who wants to hang out after?